Live. I want to do a reading from the classic masterpiece from 1955 by Dr. Joseph Murphy. It's called How to Attract Money, the original classic of abundance. The author of Power of Your Subconscious Mind, which was written in 1963, which has sold millions of copies throughout the world. So I want to read to you from his classic 1955, How to Attract Money. At the very beginning, it says, "This is the book you've been waiting for." On the back, it says basically, if you read just one book on the mental steps to success, this is it. Here's Mastermind, Joseph Murphy's most powerful, precise program for using the visualization faculties of thought to attain the life you want. Whole volumes have been written on these topics that Murphy boils down to their essentials in this all in one guide. This special edition is introduced by New Thought author and historian Mitch Horowitz, who explains how to get the most from the book. And how to attract money, you're going to learn why relaxation and meditation can bring you wealth, how your mind is a channel, the higher mind of the universe, specific prayers and affirmations that will bring you closer to your goals, and why praising and encouraging others to help you, how specific thoughts deplete or build your financial health. Your mind is an extraordinary, powerful instrument. Here is the only guide you'll ever need to maximize its reality shaped abilities. The book you've been waiting for. Mitch Horowitz writes the introduction. The book you've been waiting for. I'm often asked if I were to select one new thought book to recommend to someone approaching the philosophy of mental causation for the first time, or maybe someone who's willing to sample just one book, which would it be? The answer has eluded me, but I've been uncertain whether to recommend a mainstream work like Earl Nightingale's wonderful lecture, The Strangest Secret, or I might recommend Sturgeon Maxwell Malt's Psycho-Cybernetics. Or possibly I would recommend Napoleon Hill's Evergreen Think and Grow Rich. But in writing these words, I realized that the book I should be recommending and that I plan to from now on is that one that I've been reading for years, but never fully appreciated. Joseph Murphy's slender 1955 masterpiece, How to Attract Money. I think that I have previously resisted recommending How to Attract Money because I felt slightly embarrassed by its acquisitive sounding title. Thoughtful people are taught to believe that overt expressions of money getting are quote unquote unspiritual. Reading this book with fresh eyes, however, I am disabused of that notion. First of all, money in whatever its form takes, whether it's bills, goods, or commodities, is part of the natural human exchange and is inevitably tied to all phases of our life. More importantly, Murphy, in his genius as a communicator, uses the topic of money, something that we all need, as a metaphor for the point he's really making, which is that we are generative, causative beings who channel the power of higher creativity through the medium of our thoughts, which take form in the circumstances of our lives. Not everyone approaching new thought or this book must be spiritual in outlook. One would venture psychological explanations for the link between thoughts and events, something that Maltz does compelling in Psycho-Cybernetics, when he compares the mind to a homing device like a heat-seeking missile which is programmed by our subconscious beliefs. And that is valid, but new thought at its heart is spiritual, by which I mean Joseph Murphy explains his perspective and provides precise techniques for using your thoughts, prayers, mental images, and affirmations in a manner that exerts and channels the creative intelligence of the cosmos, or what we call God. When Murphy writes about using the powers of your mind while in a drowsy pre-sleep state, and when he asserts that the Bible is a symbolic book of inner development, his ideas converge with those of contemporary seeker and spiritual teacher Neville Goddard. Murphy recalled studying with Neville, who wrote under his first name, when the two men, Murphy, a recent immigrant from Ireland, and Neville from the West Indies, were coming up as metaphysical teachers on the New York scene in the 1930s. In interviews toward the end of his life in 1981, Murphy said that he and Neville shared the same teacher, a mysterious turbaned black rabbi named Abdullah. If that is all a little bit too mystical for you, don't worry. Murphy's philosophy doesn't require credibility or requires experimentation. And the experiments in this book are exquisitely private. They are yours alone. They require no membership or label, and most importantly, there's no need to disclose what you're doing to anyone else. In fact, it's better not to. These ideas don't need another's approval or approbation, only your engagement. This short book, written 8 years before the 1963 publication of Murphy's worldwide bestseller, The Power of the Subconscious Mind, captured his philosophy in its totality. Murphy's communicative powers, always considerable at their peak. His words here are effective, truthful, and I think demonstrably good and beneficent. I've been reading New Thought literature for about 20 years, and yet something, I cannot quite say what, awakened to me when I was recently read this little book in the early morning hours while my home in New York City remained covered in pre-dawn darkness and activity of the streets were briefly stilled. I wish a similar experience for you. And if you, like me, come to feel that you want to share this book with friends and curious people, you will be spreading seeds of mental creativity which may grow in your life and in the lives of others in ways that surprise you. That too, I wish for all who approach this volume. Mitch Horowitz, New York City, 2017. Chapter 1, Your Right to be Rich. It is your right to be rich. You are here to lead the abundant life, to be happy, radiant, and free. You should therefore have all the money you need to lead a full, happy, and prosperous life. You are here to grow, expand, and fold spiritually, mentally, and materially. You should surround yourself with beauty and luxury. Why be satisfied with just enough to go around when you can enjoy the riches of the infinite? In this book, you'll learn to make friends with money, and you will always have a surplus. Your desire to be rich is a desire for a fuller, happier, and more wonderful life. It is a cosmic urge. It is a good, very good. Begin to see money in its true significance as a symbol of exchange. It means to you freedom from want, beauty, luxury, abundance, and refinement. Some reasons why people do not prosper is they have subconscious beliefs or feeling that virtue in poverty, or they have some early childhood programming, subconscious beliefs that that are false, and also false interpretations of the scriptures. There's no virtue in poverty. It is a disease like any other mental disease. If you're physically ill, you would think there was something wrong with you. You would seek help or do something about the condition at once. Likewise, if you do not have money constantly circulating in your life, there's something radically wrong with you. Money is only a symbol. God does not want you to live in a hovel or go hungry. God wants you to be happy, prosperous, and successful. You were born to succeed, to win, to conquer all difficulties, and to have all your faculties fully developed. Get away immediately from all superstitious beliefs about money. You are here to lead a balanced life. Man does not live by bread alone. By making money your sole aim, you simply made a wrong choice. You thought that that was all you wanted. But you found after all your efforts that it was not only the money you needed. What you really desired was true place, peace of mind, and abundance. You could have the million or many millions if you wanted them and still have peace of mind, harmony, perfect health, and divine expression. Everyone wants enough money and just not enough to go around. He wants an abundance and despair. And he should have it. The urges, desires, and impulses we have for food, clothing, homes, better means of transportation, expression, procreation, abundance are all God given, divine, and good. Money is a symbol of God's opulence, beauty, refinement, and abundance, and it should be used wisely to bless humanity. It is merely a symbol of the economic health of the nation. When your blood is circulating freely, you are healthy. When money is circulating freely in your life, you are economically healthy. Knowledge of the spiritual power is the means to the royal road to riches of all kinds, whether you desire spiritual, mental, or material. The student of the laws of the mind or the student of the spiritual principle believes and knows absolutely that regardless of the economic situation, stock market fluctuation, depression, strikes, war, other conditions or circumstances, he will always be amply supplied regardless of what form money may take. The reason for this is he abides in the consciousness of wealth. The student has convinced himself in his mind that wealth is forever flowing freely in his life and that there is always a divine surplus. Should there be a war tomorrow and all the student's presents holdings become valueless, as the German marks did after the First World War, he would still attract wealth and be cared for regardless of the form the new currency took. Wealth is a state of consciousness. It is a mind conditioned to divine supply, forever flowing. The scientific thinker looks at money or wealth like the tide. It goes out, but it always comes back. The tide never fails. Neither will man supply when he trusts tireless and changeless immortal presence, which is omnipresent and flows ceaselessly. The man who knows the workings of the subconscious mind is never therefore worried about the economic situation, stock market panics, devaluation or inflation of currency, since he abides in the consciousness of God's eternal supply. Such a man is always supplied and washed over by an overshadowing presence. Here is a simple way for you to impress your subconscious mind with the idea of constant supply. Get into a sleepy, drowsy, relaxed, meditative state and ask yourself a few questions. Where does wealth come from? Where did you come from? Where did your brain and your mind come from? Will you be led back to that one source? You'll find yourself on a spiritual working basis now. It will no longer insult your intelligence to realize that wealth is a state of mind. Take this little phrase, repeat it slowly, 4 or 5 minutes, 3 or 4 times a day, quietly to yourself, particularly before you go to sleep. Money is forever circulating freely in my life, and there is always a divine surplus. As you do this regularly and systematically, the idea of wealth will be conveyed to your deeper mind, and you'll develop a wealth consciousness. Our subconscious mind accepts our beliefs, feelings, convictions, and what we consciously accept as true. A good affirmation to say is, I am prospering every day. I am growing in wealth and in wisdom every day. Every day my wealth is multiplying. I'm advancing, growing, and moving forward financially. These and similar statements will not create any conflict in the mind. Another statement and affirmation you could use is, my sales are increasing every day. I'm advancing and moving forward. The spiritually advanced student who quietly, knowingly, and feeling says, I am prosperous, I am successful, I am wealthy, gets wonderful results also. And why would this be true? When they think, feel, and say, I am prosperous, they mean God is all supply or infinite riches. And what is true of God is true of them. When they say, I am wealthy, they know God is infinite supply, an inexhaustible treasure house. And what is true of God is true for them, for God is within them. Many men get wonderful results by dwelling on three abstract ideas such as health, wealth, and success. Health is a divine reality or quality of God. Wealth is of God. It is eternal and endless. Success is of God. God is always successful in all his undertakings. The way they produce remarkable results is to stand before a mirror as they shave and repeat for 5 or 10 minutes, health, wealth, and success. They do not say a full sentence of that. They just say health, wealth, and success and focus on those words. They are quiet and relaxed. The mind is receptive and passive. Then they repeat these words. Amazing results follow. All they're doing is identifying with truths that are eternal, changeless, and timeless. You can develop a wealth consciousness. Results followed as he persisted. Have a dream, a clear image in your mind. Remember, wealth is in the mind. It is a state of mind. Accepting the end wills the means to the realization of the end. Believe that you have it now and you shall receive it. Your knowledge of how your mind works is your savior and redeemer. Thought and feeling are your destiny. You possess everything by the right of consciousness. The consciousness of health produces health. The consciousness of wealth produces wealth. Walking on the royal road to riches. And remember, like this great law is, as you would that men should think about you, think about them in the same way manner. As you would that men should feel about you, feel about them in that manner. Say from your heart, I wish for every man who walks on the earth what I wish for myself. The sincere wish in my heart is therefore peace, love, joy, abundance, and God's blessings to all men everywhere. Rejoice and be glad in progression of advancement and prosperity of all men and women. Whatever you claim is true for yourself, claim it for all men and women everywhere. If you pray for happiness and peace of mind, let your claim be peace and happiness for all. Do not ever try and deprive another of any joy. If you do, you deprive yourself. Remember, when the ship comes in for your friend, it comes in for you also. If someone is promoted in your organization, be glad and happy and congratulate and rejoice in their advancement. You always want to bless what you want. Do not try and withhold from another his God-given birthright to happiness, success, achievement, abundance, and all of good things. Jesus said, sow up for yourself treasures in heaven. What Jesus meant was, the treasures of heaven are the truths of God, which you possess in your soul. Fill your minds with peace, harmony, faith, joy, honesty, integrity, loving kindness, and gentleness. Then you'll be sowing for yourself treasures in the heavens of your own mind. If you're seeking wisdom regarding investments, or if you're worried about your stocks or bonds, quietly claim, infinite intelligence governs and watches over all my financial transactions, and whatsoever I do shall prosper. Say to yourself, infinite intelligence governs and watches over all my financial transactions. Whatsoever I do shall prosper. Say this again. Infinite intelligence governs and watches over all my financial transactions, and whatsoever I do shall prosper. Do this frequently, and you'll find that your investments will be wise. Moreover, you'll be protected from loss, as you'll be prompted to sell your securities or holdings before any loss occurs to you. Let the following prayer be used daily by you regarding your home, business, and possessions. The overshadowing presence which guides the planets on their course and causes the sun to shine, watches over all my possessions, home, business, and all things that are mine. God is my fortress and vault. All my possessions are secure in God. It is wonderful. By reminding yourself daily of this great truth and by observing the laws of love, you'll always be guided, watched over, and prosper in all your ways. You'll never suffer from loss, for you have chosen the Most High as your counselor and guide. The envelope of God's love surrounds, enfolds, and encompasses you at all times. You rest in the everlasting arms of God. All of us should seek an inner guidance for our problems. As the sun rises in the morning, so my answer be resurrected. I know the sunrise never fails. Then go off to sleep. Let your sleep every night be a contented bliss. We cannot know what abundance was except if we were conscious of lack. It is through these limitations we grow. We can never discover the inner power except through problems and difficulties, through our poor states which brought us seeking the solution. We cannot know what joy was except we should shed a tear of sorrow. We must beware of poverty to seek liberation and freedom and set into God's opulence. Through dissatisfaction, we are led to satisfaction. Your desire for prosperity is the voice of God in you telling you that abundance is yours. When you're hungry, you eat. When you're in lack, enter into the mood of opulence and plenty. Imagine the end, rejoicing in it. Having imagined the end and felt it as true, you have willed the means to the realization of the end. When you are fearful and worried, feed your mind with the great truths of God that have stood the test of time and will last forever. You can receive comfort by meditating on the great Psalms. For example, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. God is my refuge, my salvation. Whom should I fear? God is ever present, help in time of trouble. My God, in him I will trust. One with God is a majority. I do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. Let the healing vibrations of these truths flood your mind and heart. Then you'll crowd out of your mind all your fears, doubts, and worries through this meditative process. Draw nigh unto it, and it will draw nigh unto you. Turn to it devotedly with assurance, trust, and love, and it will respond to you as love, peace, guidance, and prosperity. Furthermore, you'll find yourself in green pastures where abundance and of all of God's riches flow freely through you. Say to yourself freely and joyously during the day, I walk in the consciousness of the presence of God all day long. You wish to express more and more of God here and now. Through your lack, limitation, and problems, you grow in God's light and you discover yourself. There's no other way where you could discover yourself. All that is necessary to express happiness and prosperity is to feel happy and prosperous. The feeling of wealth produces wealth. States of consciousness manifest themselves. Your desire for prosperity is really the promise of God saying that his riches are yours. Accept this promise without any mental reservation. Accept the abundant life in your own mind. Your mental acceptance and expectancy of wealth has its own mathematics and mechanics of expression. As you enter the mood of opulence, all things necessary for the abundant life will come to pass. Fear is the signal for action. It is not really bad. It basically tells you to move to the opposite, which is faith in God and all of positive values. Let this be your daily prayer and write it in your heart. God is the source of my supply that supplies mine now. His riches flow to me freely, capaciously, and abundantly. I am forever conscious of my true worth. I give my talents freely, and I'm wonderfully divinely compensated. Thank you, Father. Chapter 2, The Road to Riches. Riches are of the mind. Contribute to humanity. You'll always be wealthy when you have an intense desire to contribute to the good of mankind, your urge for service. Say to yourself, I can attract the simple wealth in the same way as honey attracts flies. Your constant attitude should be, I can change water into wine. This man read this in the passage in the Bible, and he knew it was the answer to perfect health, happiness, peace of mind, and prosperity. Wine in the Bible always means realization of your desires, dreams, and plans. Water in the Bible usually refers to your mind or consciousness. The Bible was written by illuminated men. It teaches practical, everyday psychology and a way of life. I can change water into wine. His constant mental attitude was, I can change water into wine. I can make the invisible ideas, urges, dreams, and desires of mine visible because I've discovered a simple universal law of the mind. This being true, you can now change your inner pattern of thought by dwelling on the ideas of success, wealth, and peace of mind. As you busy your mind with these latter concepts, these ideas will gradually seep into your mentality like seeds planted into the ground. As all seeds, thoughts, and ideas grow after their kind, so your habitual thinking and feeling manifest in prosperity, success, and peace of mind. You can acquire riches when you become aware of the fact that prayer is a marriage feast. I explained to this woman the magic formula of changing water into wine, and again, we made it clear to her that wine means answered prayer or the objectification of her ideal. In prayer, you write what you believe in your own mind. Emerson said, a man is what he thinks about all day long. Changing water into wine or changing lack and limitation to abundance and opulence. As I think and feel inside, so is my outside world, my body, finances, environment, social position, and all phases of my external relationship to the world and man. Your internal mental movement and imagery govern, control, and direct the external plane in your life. The Bible says, as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. The heart is Chaldean, word means the subconscious mind. In other words, your thought must reach subjective levels by engaging your power of your subliminal self. Thought and feeling are your destiny. When the conscious mind becomes aware of water made into wine and becomes aware of the answered prayer, wine is conditioned consciousness, or the mind giving birth to its beliefs and convictions. Imbibe, cherish, fall in love with these spiritual principles which are discussed in this book. Opulence and prosperity by changing consciousness into the conditions, circumstances, and experiences you wish to express. Consciousness, awareness, beingness, principle, spirit, or whatever you give the name to it. She changed water into wine. Water of consciousness became charged or conditioned by her constant, true, happy imagery. These images, when sustained regularly, systematically, and with faith in the developing powers of the deeper mind, will come out of the darkness and into the light on the screen of space. I told him to say frequently during the day, God is the source of my supply, and all my needs are met at every moment, time, point, and space. The affirmation he used was to attain a wealth and prosperity consciousness is this: God is the source of my supply. All my financial and other needs are met at every moment, time, point, and space. There is always a divine surplus. This simple statement, repeated frequently, knowingly, and intelligently, conditioned his mind to a prosperity consciousness. God supplies all my needs. There is a divine surplus in my life. God is the source of my supply, and that supply is mine now. God's wealth is my wealth. I accept only thoughts and concepts which activate, heal, bless, and inspire my mind. Say that again and again, several times a day. He reconditioned his consciousness or mind to a wealth consciousness. You go where your vision is. As Quimby stated, an expression of your beliefs. This illustrates the truth of Quimby's statement: man is belief expressed. God reveals to me better ways to present the truths of God to my fellow creature. Say that again and again. I say to people who consult me regarding financial lack to marry wealth. Some see the point, others do not. As all Bible students know, your wife is what you mentally joined to or united with, and what you're one with. So you want to marry wealth, become one with wealth. Write that prayer in your heart, inscribe it in your mind, keep it on the beam of God's glory. To go on the high watches, to envision your good, to dwell on the new concepts of yourself. Everything comes out of the invisible. The feeling of wealth produces wealth, for wealth is a state of consciousness. A state of consciousness is how you think, feel, believe, and what you mentally give consent to. Through faith and perseverance, you can realize your goal in life. All the riches of heaven are here now within you, waiting to be released. Peace, joy, love, guidance, inspiration, goodwill, and abundance all exist now. All that is necessary in order to express God's riches is for you to leave the present now, your limitation, and enter into the mental vision or picture, and in a happy, joyous mood, become one with your ideal. As within, so without, as above, so below, as in heaven, so on earth. In other words, you'll see your beliefs expressed. Man is belief expressed. About the authors, Joseph Murphy was born in 1898 on the southern coast of Ireland. Raised in a devout Catholic family, Murphy had planned on joining the priesthood. As a young man, he instead relocated to America to make his career as a chemist and druggist. After running a pharmacy counter at the New York's Elegant Hotel, Murphy began studying mystical and metaphysical ideas. In the 1940s, he became a popular New Thought minister and writer. Murphy wrote prolifically on the autosuggestive, mystical faculties of the human mind. He became widely known for his metaphysical classic, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, which has sold millions of copies since it appeared in 1963. Considered one of the pioneering voices in New Thought and affirmative thinking philosophy, Murphy died in Laguna Hills in California in 1981. Mitch Horowitz, who originally introduced this volume, is the PEN award-winning author of books including Occult America, The Miracle Club, How Thoughts Become Reality, and the Washington Post says Mitch treats esoteric ideas and movements with an even-handed intellectual studious and is too often lost in today's raised voice discussions. Follow him at mitchhorowitz.com. And this is How to Attract Money, the original classic of abundance from the author of Power of Your Subconscious Mind in 1955, Dr. Joseph Murphy. And this has been the reading of the day. Thank you.